Good evening, kids, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. Sorry we're a few minutes late, but we have a very special announcement to make and a good reason why I was late, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes when one of our other guests gets here. But we got a hell of a panel to start with tonight, so I'm not going to waste any time. We only have Lorena for a short time, so I'm going to say hello to her first. How you doing, Lorena?
I'll be doing even better if I didn't have my mic muted.
My bad.
That was me. I'm doing great. Glad I could pop in on the panel with you guys for a bit. And hi to everybody there in the chat.
We're glad to have you here. We're going to talk a little KK news and some other things. And I thought the Spider-Man trailers were going to be out, but it's not going to be out for like another 10 minutes. So I guess we're going to watch it with you kids. So that's going to happen here. And also we have with us, of course, Script Doctor. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me on tonight. I'm excited for the trailer.
I cry when you're not here. Ask Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's like it's this whimpering noise, like it's part like hungry and like his soul hurting.
Kind of like a puppy.
Worse.
Yeah. All right. And then we also have, of course, that voice being Mike, the Mexican Iron Man producer extraordinaire.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mikey.
He's
Hi,
everywhere.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Laura. Creole.
I want to be like Mike.
And that, of course, last but not least, is Jesse Miller of Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest. How you doing?
Well, I'm not least, but I'm usually last.
Sometimes you can be, but that doesn't necessarily mean least. That's right.
It just means you let other people finish first.
Yeah.
That
Or
means you're a
sometimes not at
gentleman.
all.
That means you're a gentleman and you make
That-
sure that she gets hers. And
That was
you know,
kind of a
you know.
oh, that one doesn't. That one doesn't cut the song. That was kind of a throwback to You Only Live Twice, but not
You
terrible.
only live twice. Lindsay's in the chat and she's sending us a B with love. We also got D Bud Martin here. I saw 6 here a little bit ago. We got Cosmic Squirrel here. We got Willie Woodward. We got Pew Pirate. We got Mohammed here. We got
Willie.
SXHBK. We got Naked Fame here. Lorena's even in the chat and on screen. How about that business? We got DS Ford, Goddess of Whim is here. Stephanie Janisek is here, and so many more. So a lot has happened in the last few days. We're going to talk a little bit about that stuff. We're going to watch the Spider-Man trailer here in about 10 minutes. So yeah, other than that, anything new that we need to discuss right up front? Oh yeah, there's a big announcement. That's right. Where's Paulie at when I need him?
I'm sure he's on the way. He loves YouTube. So
Oh, somebody's got their
who's
internet.
that
Yeah, I
going?
just switched over.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
batting 1,000.
That
so-
reminds me, though, I got to open up my thing so I don't miss any member chats because I can't see them on this end. So I'm going to pop out my chat so I can see that. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Share out the link. I probably didn't even do that yet, so I should probably do that myself.
Yeah,
Hit
I
that
did
like button.
Discord, and I put Discord in the chat if anybody wants to join.
Jesse runs the Discord thing. I don't know how to even turn it on.
It's a bunch of chat rooms, and you can all talk to each other whenever you want.
He talks nonsense. I don't know what it is.
I don't even know what a Discord. I mean, I don't
It's
even
like-
check
it's-
my
imagine,
Discord.
Right,
imagine
Mike?
if you had your
I
very
turned-
own AOL chat.
Dude, I turned all my notifications off on that thing. That
Oh,
thing was,
everyone does. Everyone
that
does.
thing was going ding dong, ding dong.
Oh yeah,
ding, ding,
dude.
ding, ding,
If
ding,
you don't
ding,
turn
ding.
off the notifications on Discord, like every time anyone's having their own A/B conversation that you're trying to see your way out of, it's hard.
Exactly. Like, why would I want more interruptions during my day? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, it's like I get notifications and it's like Krypton is this and that. I'm like, this is totally not my conversation.
Basically, if you want to go talk to Jesse more, go to Discord.
Oh, Lord.
It's like the
What was
opposite of
cloning?
eavesdropping. It's just broadcast
It
everywhere.
is, right? Like, you're just like, I don't want to be a part of this conversation anymore.
Oh my God. Discord is the only app where all those notifications, I just immediately said, nope, don't want it.
Yep, same here.
Back when
Go
I had
ahead.
Twitter, that thing used to go off like
Oh, yeah.
dingity, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah, there's some days. Oh, Lord. Joe Pat 87 sends in $10. Thank you so much. This trailer drop for Netflix, Don't Look Up. It's about an imminent impact event, which they conflate with the environment. I know Hollywood is detached from reality, but now they're desperate too. Well, these are the same people who made 2012 and Earthquake. And
Well, you know, climate
that much?
change is going to cause an asteroid
No, I mean,
to come
just
out
in
of the
general.
sky, and it's going to happen 2 days before the day after tomorrow.
There's another one.
That's also Roland Emmerich.
No, I know. I mean, that's just coincidental. My point is that they've done these disaster movies.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother used to be hooked on them.
We love talking about Armageddon because of how ridiculous it is, right? But
It
we still
is.
love
his
it,
peak.
Well,
Yeah,
one
it
of
is
the things,
ridiculous, yet I've still seen it like 37 times.
right? What was
I
that?
well,
love
one of
that
the things
movie.
that I enjoyed about The Day After Tomorrow is that first opening act, you could totally picture Dennis Quaid playing Jor-El in like Superman because he's kind of in the same position as Jor-El, like just warning everybody, but the government's just not listening to him. And then it goes in, Roland Emmerich isms. But I'm like, Dennis Quaid, he would be a good Jor-El and like a.
It seems far fetched until you realize that if Yosemite ever goes off, we're all screwed.
Pretty much any big volcano goes off.
Yeah.
I mean, we all remember the one in Iceland, 10 years ago that stopped international flights for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the sky turned as black as sackcloth.
So Chev already knows what the big announcement is since she's hanging out over on Polystream. He'll be on his way over soon. So until then, we'll keep that into our pockets until he gets here. Everybody likes Armageddon.
It's cool. It's totally not dog related.
Awesome soundtrack.
Some people will kill you for that, Lorena.
Yeah. Stay awake
okay.
just to hear you crying
Down
or screaming or whatever. Yeah, I can't do it.
Raina, I will watch it with you anytime.
I think what's hysterical is that the entire concept is like, we can't just hit it with a rocket because you have a burnt hand. It's like, no, that's not how space works.
No, it's not. And considering I worked at NASA and I can still laugh at that movie.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It's a lot easier for me to teach a bunch of roughnecks how to be astronauts than it is for me to teach your fancy smart-ass scientists how to drill a hole. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, it's hysterical because it's like, oh, we're in a very peculiar, like the solar system has very peculiar level of gravity compared to the rest of the universe. Like we have a gravitational pull in our solar system, and we have a gravitational pull in our galaxy, and that galaxy has a gravitational pull within the universe, and so forth and so forth and so forth. But all you need is a little nudge, just a little nudge, and you can really change the course of meteors.
Well, not only that, isn't it? Is it Jupiter? Which one is the big planet that basically sucks everything in every
Jupiter's
time?
really big, and then our moon is our secondary defense.
I was gonna say, like, every time they say we're gonna get hit with something, it gets sucked in by Jupiter. So whatever.
Yeah, there are a lot. You know what? You're right. There are a lot of targets that have great gravitational pulls as you get in. But the thing is, as they spin, they might be on the other side of the friggin' sun at the time.
Right. Well, and just to go with what Joe Pat was asking here, or getting into here is, I think there's probably some kind of political spin on it. I wouldn't be surprised in this day and age. Unfortunately, they used to just make these movies with the pure and simple idea of blowing a bunch of shit up.
Yeah, and not dying.
Well, we had Lorena Day with all these other kind of movies. And there's another Emk one.
See, the secret twist at the end, Shyamalan styles, it's going to be the rapture.
People just start disappearing.
Yep. Oh. Which would probably be Blue Beam.
They already made that movie.
What, Blue Beam?
No, the
Left
Behind one. Yeah,
Left Behind with Kirk Cameron. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Moonfall because it looks ridiculous.
They did one with Nicolas Cage. Don't forget.
Oh, knowing the trailer for that, it actually looked pretty okay.
Oh no, the trailer looks great. I mean, it's still like a Roland Emmerich ridiculous concept, which is
the sweet spot for me. I didn't know he was behind that. Okay,
because how is he gonna?
We don't know if he is or not.
I'm a sucker for anything with Nicolas Cage. I just get a kick.
Same here.
Well, yeah, we're conflating a bunch of things here. I don't know what's about this other movie's about, but we're just talking about five different movies at once now.
That's all right.
Is there's some sort of technology in the moon, and it's causing the moon to, I guess, collide with Earth.
Is Roland Emmerich involved? That's the question I was.
Is Morgan Freeman the president again?
Well, then their answer is your fucking question.
Oh, exactly. I think Halle Berry's in that as well. So
is Tommy Lee Jones back from Volcano?
I was gonna say, you put Tommy Lee Jones in there, Bruce Willis, and we got him. We're talking now.
It is in the movie.
It is.
It's got Donald Sutherland, so we're getting into the names,
I don't like this planet, but I don't want to see it blow up.
Then the people who do the scary movie parody series do
the Wayans brothers
disaster movie. Well, I don't know. That's the thing. There were scary movies, and there was all these other really stupid ones that were.
All right, so that's the assistant. So that's Seltzer, I think, is one of them, or Seltzler. hold on. I'll just quickly search it up. But
Here's the
basically,
thing,
they were the
because,
it was Aaron Seltzer and Jason Friedberg, and they were the assistants on the first 2 Scary Movie films, just like copy getters and
the Wayans only had
ancillary
anything to
writer.
do with the first 2. Then it was the Zuckers, wasn't it? After
Zuckers were asked to come in for Scary Movie 3 and 4, and they just didn't want to do them anymore.
So who did superhero movie and disaster movie and all that crap?
That would be
was
Aaron Seltzer and Jason Friedberg. And they did date movie, disaster movie, epic movie, vampires suck.
Wow, there's a lot of these.
They've been working on
they do the superhero one too.
They did.
Yeah, that one I remember.
I don't think they did superhero. Someone else did that.
Oh, okay.
But they've done. They've been trying to get the Star Wars parody made for like 6 years, 7 years.
I've seen that. It's called Spaceballs.
No, they have it as like Star Wars or Star Worlds episode like 39, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi Who Went Rogue or something like that.
Oh Jesus!
It's really like they're just these lazy guys, which reminded
They
me
did meet
that
the Spartans too, didn't they?
did they meet
That would be the
Spartans?
300
I
one.
forgot about.
That would be they did meet the Spartans. Yes.
Yeah, that one was actually funny because they had spray painted on abs and shit.
Well, actually, that was the case with a lot of the guys in 300. A lot of most of the background ones, they
Really,
did the
how much
exercise.
can they hide?
You'd be
Well,
surprised.
the actors just had slim waists, but they didn't have any definition, so they were spray painted on. One of the makeup artists I've worked with before, she was on set for that, doing it.
So you gotta have the swim waist first.
Well, yeah, if you have a flat stomach, it's a lot easier to do it than on a
I
larger
don't
one.
care that the abs were sprayed on. 300 is my movie. Shit.
And it looked
Right,
good,
so
yeah.
Don't ruin my fucking fantasies.
Yeah.
Shut the
The only
fuck
way
up.
I know how I could ruin Lorena's fantasy. I could wear one of those outfits to the next live stream.
You know what? If you went back to ancient Sparta, they'd probably kill each other trying to talk to you. I don't know if they even had. Did they have women in their society, or did they keep them separate?
They did, but they were mostly at home. And you
Making
know, the
babies.
hottest line that you could tell your Spartan mate was "Come home with your shield or on it."
Yeah.
That's what they
Making
told them.
babies.
That too.
But basically, Lorena, how you felt when Script told you that is how every guy feels when that chick they find out that they have a crush on had done a movie where she's full frontal or whatever, and then you find out, oh, it's a body double.
Oh,
Stupid.
sucks
body
the
double with
air
your
out of your
hot body.
fantasy.
Well, come on, Gerard Butler and
Fuck.
all of his compatriots in that had speaking lines, they worked out and they got some abs, but you gotta. Here's the other part too with lighting. Not all the definition of muscles show up on film because of the way they
No,
lit. So you have to get some makeup in there to, enhance what's already there, so it can be picked up by DSLR or even a 70mm lens.
In Schwarzenegger's book, he actually gets into a lot of this stuff because he talks about how it's so much different to like the type of muscles you would build for doing actual physical work compared to the muscles you would actually build for competition compared to the muscles you want to build for movies.
Oh
Like-
yeah, you're totally right. Because
Yeah.
country strong is a hell of a lot better than most things, but it ain't that pretty.
Yeah, like I've seen the body stuff over at like the trainer walls in Hollywood, where they show it looks like this guy is like really buffy. It looks like he has like little glove handles, but that's just like basically like reinforced to support the spine muscles that you have to grow. And if you don't do that, you don't have like proper muscles around your waist, you risk hurting your back when you try to lift something if it's just all upper body. So you got to have it evenly layered. But then you have like just next to that, circled around the slimmer waist is like action star. Like it's circled around the action star. It has to have like a 32-inch waist, 6-pack abs, that type
Do
of
I hear
stuff.
some crazy shit?
Sure.
There was a teacher in my high school when I was a kid, and he broke his humerus. The way he did this was he would always work out his biceps and never his triceps. And one day he was lifting weights and he broke his own damn arm.
All right, I'm gonna grab
There
these
wasn't
super
enough
chats
counter resistance.
because we have a Spider-Man trailer, kids.
Yay!
All
right.
right.
Goddess of Whim sent us a little Shiba Inu dog farting hearts. Thank you so much for that.
Yay.
And I think then we are caught up other than just, we got one from Spider Unlimited and Willie Woodward, and we got another one here from HVP. Sorry about that. They just jumped all over on me, and we'll get to this trailer. I promise. Promise. It's coming, kids.
If it's good, I'll change my mind.
All right, let's see here. Where did we leave off here? We had... Okay, we got deleted scenes. Was that the last one? Because this whole thing moved on me.
Did you get the member chat from Darius?
No, that's just a renewal thing, right? It doesn't have a message, right?
That's what I think.
Okay. Yep. He's just thank you so much for renewing, Darius. We appreciate that. And so yes, the next one here is Steven. Says, hail, Tom, Script, Jesse, Lorena, Wrenches, and chat. Well, hail to you, Steven.
Hello.
And then I got to scroll back down here a little farther. It's nice that they're here. It just takes a minute to get to them.
Steven, thanks for sending my son $1.99 again. That's
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, by the way, Jesse's kid has a video game channel now. HVP sends in $2 and says, Ryan Reynolds looking more like Rachel Maddow. Why? Oh, I didn't see him recently. I seen he had some trailer drop. Is he looking like Rachel Maddow?
You know, honestly, it looks like he stopped working out completely.
Oh. That could be. Willie Woodward says, spoiler, in real life, Script Doctor is really Ryan Reynolds. I would be able to tell with that voice.
Yeah, we'd all.
Yeah, we both have very youthful sounding voices, but he has a different cadence than I do.
No. Once if Script ever talked in a movie or in a behind the scenes thing, and the moment I hear his voice, I will know it's him. I have like musical ears, so not only does that help me with like picking things out musically, but I'm really good at picking out whether or not somebody's doing their actual voices or not, like in movies.
You have really good relative pitch.
Well, if you can distinguish between Frank Welker's characters, that's really impressive because usually
I can, yes.
Yeah.
I can tell
he has an odd timbre to his voice that's hard.
There's only a few that have been able to trick me in my lifetime. And speaking of Darius, he also sends us a super sticker, which let me see what that is. It is a popcorn, and then we accidentally jumped. See, this is what happens. It jumped over because we actually had one from Spider Unlimited here, but I got it. Don't worry. We never got Moonraper with Ben Affleck.
I forgot about that. It's not too late.
It's not too late, but it's not too late now. Let's watch the Spider-Man trailer here. All right. We got we got 250 some people watching. Please hit that like button. That'll help us out quite a bit. Let me get back to the actual screen here. Let me make it big. There we go, kids.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe. Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
Then
Oops,
who
my
is
regular
he?
mic is muted.
Hit play.
Well, I was gonna say, we got to make it a little transformative here.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
okay, Gunsport, we've seen some exciting things. Script Doctor, what was your most exciting part at this point?
So far, we've seen a bunch of guys from other movies.
Blah blah blah,
that we
yada
already
yada
know.
yada. Let's finish watching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a backflip in slow motion. Never seen that.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe. You're not gonna take this away from me.
You're struggling to have everything you want, while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
Let her fall.
Remember
Got
when
the
I said
Michael
don't
Bay
get
ending
attached to
check.
everybody? Or don't get attached to anybody?
What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them.
December 17th, exclusively at movie
So
theaters.
Andre was
Tickets on
right.
sale
They
November
went with the
29th. Spider
non-Toby
Monday.
and Andrew Garfield trailer. Interesting.
I figured they would. Yeah.
Now, well, let me ask you guys a question because I've had a problem with this before. The first time I heard about it. Now, if let's say Tom and Script Doctor are my villains, and they die, and then they're instantly transformed into this other universe or parallel world, fine. Wouldn't their body have disappeared in the original timeline? They left.
Technically, you would be right.
It doesn't make two of them.
No, you would be technically right.
So the ending of all these movies should have the bodies disappearing like Yoda, and that never happened. So this movie never happened. This whole movie's already a paradox. I'm out.
Lindsay says, I'm so done with this snarky humor in these damn movies. Well, from what I've been hearing, that's probably some of the most humor. This one's going to be really, really, really dark. But
yeah, go Scooby-Doo this crap, Tom.
We do have our guest in the back room here. But before I bring him in, we got the super chat from Steven who says, we never got Earth versus Soup starring Kevin Bacon, MST3K a reference. No, we did not. We're going to get everybody's reactions to this, but we got a special announcement we're going to do as well. How you doing, Paulie?
Hey, Paulie.
You're muted, Paulie.
Yeah.
That's a happy Paulie.
Hey, hello.
Hello. There's a reason why Paulie's happy.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
Paulie, why don't you tell everybody what the big announcement is for those who may not have saw it already on your channel?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, hello to La Reina Creole. I gotta say hello to the lady in the house.
Hello.
Hello, stranger. Okay. Next Monday, November 22nd, 9 a.m. on Midnight's Edge, the main channel, we're gonna have actor icon Danny Trejo coming on the show.
Nice.
You heard it, kids. Danny
Wow.
Trejo will be here Monday on Midnight's Edge.
Monday, guys, and we've been working on it for many months.
So how many movies has Danny done? About, I don't know, 2,000?
All the movies.
I think 500. Didn't he say something like 500?
I don't know, but I know that he helps a lot of people start their careers, and he'll pretty much go and just do stuff for people.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's happening.
If it's been 500, I would not be surprised in the least.
Yeah, and what I wanted to do now that that's set, I was telling Tom, I want to get a couple of his buddies to pop in. Hopefully, there's an actor. His name is Donald Logue. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
Of course we are.
Okay.
Donald Logue. Yeah, he was in Gotham. He was in Blade.
Yeah, and he was
had his own TV show on, what was it, Fox or ABC? I can't remember.
Steve and the Tao of Steve, and
well, not just that one. He had the one that was kind of like Married with Children, but they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
Yeah. Well, and he was King Horrick in
he's been in tons and tons of shit
in the Vikings, and he's very tight with Trejo because they're both in the 12-step program and have been for years. They do a lot of charity work together. He wrote the prologue to Trejo's new book that came out earlier this year, and I want to get him on for a segment that would just be amazing. So now that we pinned him down, I'm gonna make a couple of calls to some brothers that know him.
Grounded for Life. That's the show I couldn't remember.
Grounded for Life. Okay, yeah. So
is it rude to ask Donald what Wesley Snipes is really like?
Probably say he was stoned.
Yeah.
or stoic.
Yeah. I mean, what was I gonna say? So yeah, we have them for at least an hour, and hopefully longer.
That's awesome. Can't
yeah.
wait.
Oh, we're gonna structure the same way, like a fundraiser type of thing.
No.
Okay, so it's just straight content.
This is all for us, baby.
Yeah, this is all for this is all for the team, man. We earned this one.
We earned this one.
As far as
this one.
IMDb is concerned, Danny Trejo has been in 583
There you
titles.
go. See, I knew he probably wasn't exaggerating.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damn movies.
Actually, this is something we're going to talk about in a little bit here, but we might as well just get everybody's reaction right now.
Mhm.
Beat Bop Boop wants to know about Mel Gibson directing Lethal Weapon. That's right. Lethal Weapon 5. Mel Gibson's in talks. Amazingly. Lorraine, you're going to be leaving soon. So what was your reaction? Oh, go ahead, Polly. Did you have something else?
No.
to say,
If she's gonna leave soon, I want her to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Please.
thank you. No, I was excited about it to hear it. Lethal Weapon is, like I said on Toxic Femininity, one of my favorite toxic male franchises. So very excited that Mel may potentially be directing. If anybody could take over for Richard Donner, rest in peace, it
Right.
would be him. He knows the character inside and out. He knows, basically the MO of the whole entire franchise, what Lethal Weapon should truly be about. So I hope this gets finalized soon. I'm really looking forward to it. It was some very exciting news to hear. So I was very happy.
Yeah, and I heard this as well, as Shanatsky says here. I'm assuming when Richard knew that he wasn't doing too well, I guess he had said that he wanted Mel to take over for him.
Yeah, well, Mel was kind of like the unofficial protege to Donner. I mean,
yeah,
if you take a look at the stuff that Mel Gibson has directed, they're very much influenced by Donner's style of verisimilitude and character commitment. I mean, just Braveheart alone, you look at that, and if you didn't know that Mel Gibson directed it, you'd
he
probably say
worked with him more than any other director.
Yeah, let's see. There's all 4 Lethal Weapons,
George
Maverick.
Miller, maybe, yeah.
He was also in Conspiracy Theory as Donner as well.
There you go. So right there's like 5 or 6. So
yeah. Got a good influence with him there.
Absolutely.
And yes, ouchies, the Patriot was the shit.
Yes. So Paulie, you were about to say something there a second ago.
No, yeah, I was just gonna go back to Danny Trejo, but
okay. Well, go ahead and finish that up because I don't want to dwell on it too much longer.
No, in regards to the 580 credits,
yeah,
he gets interviewed a lot, and he's like, "Oh, you played stereotypes in the past. You played stereotypes. How do you feel about that?" And he's like, "I don't. It's work. That's what I feel."
Yes.
I'm like, yeah,
There you go.
Hell yeah.
People know who the hell he is. That's all that matters. It'd be different if he was playing, a bunch of these parts and nobody knew who he was. I mean, he's Danny Trejo, for fuck's sake.
I wanted to play a stand-up comic one day.
That would be.
Yeah, I liked when they teamed him up with Diamond Dallas Page and Devil's Rejects. That was a cool team.
But yeah, I mean, unless there's anybody here who doesn't think this is a good idea, I think it's a very good idea, and I think it's kind of a move in the right direction that Warner would even be considering allowing Mel to do this, because this will be his first major studio film since Apocalypto, wouldn't it?
Yeah, see, Apocalypto was a little too artsy for me.
What was that script?
Or just after. I thought he directed something after Apocalypto.
Did
I
he?
can't remember.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm just double checking.
It wasn't long after that he got canceled. So like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, he got drunk and yeah.
He got drunk, called somebody sugar tits.
They remind
my
you.
favorite insult now.
Yes,
he had to do
going
a
to remind
movie
you
with
that he's
Will
canceled
Ferrell.
all the time. What was that? Sorry, Jesse.
He did Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge was the last one.
Oh, that was a good
I
one.
didn't see that.
That one wasn't that long ago either, though.
That was 2016. That was
in between the times he got canceled again, because that was when they let him have a comeback. And then you're right, 2016 happened, and they're like, "Oh, we can't be having that shit no more."
Well, Mel Gibson's got a weird background because he didn't have the greatest positive influence from his parents, but he's the guy that got Robert Downey Jr. back on track from his issues, and then he succumbed to similar parts. And I think that's to do with the overall attitude that's in the industry. It breaks people. And you get enough bad influence on there, it turns you into someone that you're not. And I remember seeing many interviews with Richard Donner whenever he was asked about Mel Gibson. He's like, I've known the guy since nearly the start of his career. he just doesn't act like that. And I've seen him at his worst point,
Mhm.
and he's like, I've never seen him go that far before. So something really had to have gotten to him. And the other part too is we can actually see this across the board with executives when you fall in, not so much about fall in love, but you really admire a producer or director or something, and then all of a sudden they start acting out of character and going in a direction that you just don't recognize. That's the influence of the town kind of, making their mark on that initial creative. And it has a ripple effect across everyone. It's very difficult to crawl away from that.
It always seems healthier when movie stars live out in the middle of nowhere, as opposed to they're out in California.
And he was in Much at the Kills.
Yeah,
Danny Trejo.
yes, you're right. That was one of his. I remember that was one of his first big comeback roles. Professor Gray says, "Dark, gritty Spider-Man with too many characters and villains. I'm done with Marvel now. Time to look forward to something new." Well, that's kind of where we're at. I'm not surprised. There's a lot of people are just kind of checked out from Marvel, but I'm interested in seeing what they do with this. They went out with the trailer that didn't give away too much. Let's say I know a lot more about this movie than I probably want to already.
This is their second movie that's completely a paradox off the bat. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, well, they've gotten you gotten to this point with this whole paradox thing. I think the whole thing is they come through before they die, but Peter has to inevitably deal with the fact that whatever version of him is the one that he's the one who kills them.
Yeah, but if they don't disappear in the original movie, then that doesn't make any sense. It's wrong.
Well, it is what it is.
Well, who's to say that they're not just yanked away from before they die, and then once they die in Spider-Man, they go right back. And
so when the Green Goblin dies in this movie, which is inevitable, he's going to go back to being pinned up against a brick wall by his own glider magically.
Yeah, think of it like a quantum leap effect, where you're taken out of your body to experience another life, and then you're thrusted back into
pretty much
at the moment you left, so that you basically don't even recall the other experience you happened, or maybe you do, and it's considered like the your life flashing before your eyes type of thing before you die.
What's Jesse complaining
I'm just
about?
speculating that.
So when he dies in this movie, now he has to vanish again.
I don't think they're going to die in this movie. That's the whole point. Is that Spider-Man doesn't want to send them back because he knows they're going back to their inevitable death.
And then whatever, I don't believe that this is a Doctor Strange.
It's kind of something's odd about it. You're right.
He's very not out of character, and I think that's probably why Benedict Cumberbatch has been saying a couple of things that was really fun to play him in this one, because it's like he's not the same Doctor Strange.
What were you saying, Lorena?
No, I was gonna say that's the impression that I had. That's the Doctor Strange that I'm seeing in that trailer isn't the Doctor Strange that I'm familiar with. And I'll
drop something here that I think, and this is something I'm just completely I have nothing to go on with this. But remember, the original ending of WandaVision was supposed to have Doctor Strange in it, and there was all this talk about Mephisto. Right. What if this is actually Mephisto and not Doctor Strange?
And I thought about that, because it's kind of like, okay, what if it's him, but it's not really him?
Because I kept hearing it's not Loki again.
Well, I kept hearing earlier before that this is very much tonally like It's a Wonderful Life. I think you even said something script that you had heard somebody say something about that. Because that's kind of the whole thing.
Well, one of the things that you relayed to me was like the overall premise, and I said, "Oh, that sounds like It's a Wonderful Life."
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember you saying something like that, and then somebody else said the same kind of thing to me. But then they also said, "Don't get attached to any of these characters; they're not going to be around long." And then I've heard a couple other things now I'm not going to get into. There's certain other things, and I'm not going to specify which characters because that would be giving away too much. That could mean characters that have already been part of these movies, and it could mean other people. What were you going to say?
When does
I was
Deadpool
just going to
show up?
say, for me, this trailer hasn't sold me on.
I'm disappointed with this trailer, but I'm also I enjoyed part of it.
It's yeah, I mean, I love seeing Doc Ock because he's my favorite baddie.
Oh, were we talking about Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's my favorite big bad. Doc Ock is, and
Both
seeing
him and
Alfred.
And if we could get Danny Trejo as the Shocker, that would be awesome.
Oh man, that would be great. But no, this trailer really doesn't make me want to see it, unfortunately. Unless they come up now, if they come up with another one, maybe that might change my mind. But right now, I wouldn't say I wouldn't see it. I'm not in a hurry to see it. Like, I'm not ready to, it's like I don't want to plunk down money for a ticket right away, like say Ghostbusters Afterlife. I got one for opening night for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Steven
tomorrow night,
says,
huh?
Yeah. For you it is.
Yeah.
Steven says permission to treat Hollywood as a hostile witness. You have my permission anyway.
Oh man.
Granted, proceed.
Granted, proceed. Yeah.
Are we kind of doing open issue topics right now, or we're just jumping?
Well, no. Initially, the whole thing was I thought the trailer was supposed to drop an hour ago, or well, now 90 minutes ago. So I thought we were going to be able to talk about it ahead of time. And then you had your announcement. All this thing kind of happened at once, so it's been kind of free form since we started, just because of that. But no, I actually had set topics.
No, it's cool. I mean, you know, like
yeah, but no, like if you got more to say about Danny, go ahead and we can.
Yeah.
No. You know, just Stephen Otten's super chat. Just there's just so much shenanigans going on in Hollywood, just with Latino casting, shows, the racing characters. I mean, it's just it's bonkers, man. It's bonkers.
Well, then you got the whole mandate situation too. It's going to be, and the IATSE strike is looming. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Now, script. Speaking of that, have you heard any updates on that? I know they're supposed to be going in for a vote soon. Is that what's going on?
Another proposal has been made, as from what I have heard, and I believe it'll be voted on this week. But that's as much as I know at the moment. A lot has changed in the last week and a half with regards to negotiations.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they get at the end of all this.
Maybe they made the amenities that they wanted, and we won't face a strike. But in the meantime, there was this business going around, or I should preface this. This is where all the business going around about Kathleen Kennedy is coming from. Okay. This is an article on Puck written by Matthew Bologna. Now, all this, Kathleen Kennedy is renewed. This film has been shelved. That project has been shelved, is all coming from this article. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that doesn't necessarily mean it's untrue. Because as we've been reporting for a while, she's probably going to get renewed. I've heard it from a few different places. That kind of a thing doesn't surprise me. There's also similar things in here that we've heard from other places before that. So I'm not going to say that means this is bullshit. But I'm just telling people to remind them that this has not been officially announced anywhere yet that I know of. Every single place I see it cites this as its source. Unless you've seen anything else. Script? Anybody else?
Nope.
I researched the shit out of this thing and I couldn't find anything except this, which is the same as you and I discussed on Sunday.
Well, here's the other part too, and I've said this many times on this channel and on Midnight's Edge and other channels. The only indication you will ever get that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving is if Disney starts talking about someone else underneath her that is doing great work that is in the executive field. And we're not talking Jon Favreau, we're not really talking Dave Filoni or any of those types of creative directors or writers. We're talking strictly producers who the average person may never have even heard of before.
Yeah, you got that right, though, because that's totally how they do things.
Exactly. Like the other part, too, you can, if you want to see a reference to this, go back to the start of Marvel. Ike Perlmutter was the forefront of that, and then Kevin Feige was starting to get talked about when he was making his change into the new position. And now Victoria Alonso is being spoken of, and she got this new promotion to a new position. Kevin Feige has risen up in his ranks, and now we're learning a little bit more about her over the last few months. So she is looking to step in line to be a bit more of a power player in Marvel, unless they promote her into a way where she's just a figurehead and someone else is going to be taking over. We don't know the details as of yet, but that generally is the method that the studio system has, because for their investors, they don't want to be surprised by a new name that they haven't heard of before. They want to be massaged around the new candidate that's going to take over. Bob Chapek was massaged for a good year and a half before he got his position at Disney. And I think he got his position with the parks because they terminated a woman prior who was running the parks. Lorena, can you...
I can't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Do you remember Lorena?
The
one that got shit canned over the...
Yeah, it was a woman. I can't remember her name, but basically it was one of the underlings. I cannot freaking remember, but they put her in charge of Galaxy's Edge. And then when that went
took
south,
the fall for it failing.
Yeah, exactly. She basically took the fall for the whole.
And then Chapek
thing.
that's when Chapek started coming into the conversation more dominantly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
I
said
can't remember her name.
switching. We're just moving. We're thankful for all of her work, but we're moving her on to something else.
And here's the other part too. When you take a look at her history, and I'm going off of memory, of course. So if anyone out in the chat knows more details, please correct me if I make a mistake. But on my understanding of history, she actually was running things quite competently for Disney at that time. And I guess she was just a lamb led to the slaughter, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and
was
it's
that
kind
the
of what
woman?
happens. I'm sorry. That happens a lot of times in corporate America. They will set you up to fail, so they have someone to blame it on, and they don't take the fall for it. It happens much more often than not.
Yep.
What were you saying, Paulie? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was that the Indian American woman, like she had like the. Is that the exec that they had promoted?
No, I think you're thinking of
you're talking about the financial person that's in the SEC.
Okay.
Oh no, that's the other one. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, no,
that's
the
a whole nother thing
whistleblower?
too. Yeah.
This is what was it? What'd you
I'm
just say,
not far
Lorena?
off.
The
I think she was a
FEC.
whistleblower because she reported Disney for
That was the
SEC
whistleblower.
violation.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
she's not with them anymore.
No,
She was terminated.
Yeah.
because she brought to the to her supervisors that, hey, you guys, there's an accounting error in our system.
So that's two different people we're talking about. Yes.
Okay.
That lady is a completely different lady. The lady that we're talking about is the one that got fired over Galaxy's Edge, and her name escapes all of us right now. And I just tried looking it up and I couldn't find it.
But just in what we just talked about right now, last 5 minutes, I mean, what a wreck of a company.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
They're in rough
Right,
shape.
reflects that.
But I'll put this out to everyone listening to now or later on in the future or in the chat. The only way you'll ever get a rumor that could be considered credible with regards to a replacement of Kathleen Kennedy is if we see a consistent name being brought up that would be her successor.
Yeah, but the thing is that she reminds me of Hillary Clinton. And just like Hillary is never going to jail, Kathleen Kennedy is never going to stop collecting a paycheck.
That could very well be the case. The other part too is we do know around town, we've heard it ever since The Last Jedi, a lot of execs just do not want to have to be the person that's to come in after Kathleen Kennedy.
Catherine
Who wants to clean up that mess? And I think you're right, Fred.
Catherine Powell. Yeah.
That sounds right. Yes.
I just got the picture in my head of Jeff
That's a
Goldblum in
whistleblower?
a Triceratops.
No,
that's the
Galaxy's Edge executive. They moved her into that position. So basically, when it all fell and went south, Iger had someone to blame, and they basically they didn't quote unquote fire her. They moved her to another position, which was basically firing her.
Yeah, and the other part too is she was a very competent and useful employee, is my understanding. So it's you don't even blame a terrible employee. You do someone that can actually do some good for your company. That's just stupid.
Well, they had to make it look good. You can't dance too much if you're going to take a fall.
Catherine Powell was Anglo, and I think Paulie's thinking of Sandra Kuba, who was the Indian lady.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's the one.
Yes. Thank you, Mike.
Good work, Mike.
That's what he's here for. No, I'm serious. He's my producer, man.
No,
he did a good job. Don't laugh at Mike.
I mean, I'm getting over the emotional devastation last night when Paulie get this, Tom, with hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of people watching.
I still stand by this, Lorena.
Yeah, he basically said, and not that I disagree, but it's just he just let the entire world know that he thinks that Lorena is his bestest, favoriteest producer ever.
Oh, Tom said that last night.
The pain, everyone in the chat.
Oh, I told them, Mike, I was going to send you some homemade tortillas. So
Oh, okay, everything's good now. We're good.
Okay, so
all right, we're good.
Everything works out. But now Mike is the hardest working producer on YouTube. See, there's
I'm just not the best, but I try hard.
But you're trying harder now.
I'm the little rabbit. I'm the little rabbit chicken producing engine that tries hard.
He's doing better now, though. He's doing better.
Mike's great.
We love Mike. I'm just picking on you.
Yeah, so Sandra Kuba, that executive that Paulie's talking about, that SEC investigation still going on. She and her family were treated like crap. I don't want to get too much into it, but someone very close to her, I'm not going to say how close, but as close as someone can get. There was a suicide involved. There was a financial devastation was involved. It's an awful situation that, of course, the media has given zero press to. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Said little about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's because the dirt hasn't fully come to the surface as of yet. Right now, we just got a tip of the iceberg on this part, and I think when we get a little bit more of a slower news cycle, and maybe some powers that be want to make a negative impact on Bob Chapek, that's when stuff's probably going to start coming out in droves.
That's the thing, though. Will it actually affect Chapek since he technically probably wasn't in charge when this stuff went down?
Well, it depends.
It
on if they make a
shouldn't, but
movie
the thing
about
is,
it.
it shouldn't technically, but it will because he's the one in charge now.
Gotcha. But even though, because they're like, I'm sure they're protected as an LLC either way, kind of thing. But I don't know how criminal activity.
Corporation, yeah.
But I don't know how criminal activity works in that kind of a situation, because if they can prove some kind of criminal activity was done to launder this money somehow, then you're talking a completely different scenario, which I have no idea because I'm not a lawyer.
Well, it's most likely going to be a RICO case amongst several entities within Disney. Yeah.
Why does this sound like a better script than what they're producing?
Because it does.
Whatever happened to write what you know?
Because these are words that come
shit,
from,
or at least put that down on paper.
Because these are words I recognize and only know because they were in like Batman movies and shit.
Yeah, but like at least if they put all this into a movie, they could just be like, "That's stupid. That's just the movie Ocean's 18."
But he's right, and that's the thing is once you get you're protected under certain things if you're under the corporation deal, but when it comes to criminal activity, it's a much different scenario, and that's the case is when you get between certain things and who's asked to do what and who's doing the asking, if that makes sense. Right. Mike knows what I'm talking about.
Or basically asking a question that has multiple different answers, but when you put them all together, it equates to a crime. So that each person doesn't really know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That would be like Jesse, that would be like those of us here on the panel, the six of us, like we don't really know what we're doing, what each are doing, but we're each doing something nefarious.
Exactly. Even though you're completely oblivious to it, but the person who asks you to do it, that's the person who needs to be the fingers. Like that's my point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we may never hear or know what the hell all happened there, because they'll end up having an internal investigation first.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's how these things work.
That's you know
how far.
That's how they find out all the dirt and then start covering it up.
Exactly.
shredding that stuff.
Delete this, shred this, burn these.
Going through this though, like this is something we've been saying for a while before we even heard it from Mikey Sutton. I heard an off the cuff remark from somebody that I get info from, who had said something to the effect of, if she gets renewed, it's because of the movies made $1 billion. So I'm basically assuming now, so this is speculation on my part, from my assumption, that from them saying that, meaning that since Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, and Force Awakens all made at least $1 billion, there was probably something in her contract that kicked in an automatic clause that she had first right of refusal, and it's probably automatically for 3 years since that was what it was initially set up as. And that's why, Chapek probably can't do anything about it. In script, does that sound like something that could happen in Hollywood?
It sounds like a possibility. What also I think is kind of interesting is that there hasn't really been a Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
And because there hasn't been a Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker, the only way they can kind of tailor or at least take a look at Kathleen Kennedy's successes gauge her successes by the last 3 movies. But if she were to have released, say, another Star Wars film and it didn't make $1 billion, then you have, your reliability is now in question because you made 3 movies at $1 billion. You should still be making $1 billion as your threshold, regardless of current theatrical access issues. Therefore, yes, that stipulation within your contract would not be not be confirmed. I think would be the best.
And even if that's not the case, then like you just said, what has happened in between there? The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian's probably arguably the biggest thing to ever happen to Disney Plus.
Yes.
So regardless of that, even if she was only tangentially involved, even if it's just because her name's attached to it and she was only there on the set the day that George Lucas was there, like I heard.
Well, she's got the the other part too is that she has a paper trail basically leading to its inception, and that would be she responded to Jon Favreau's email saying, "Please meet with Dave Filoni and get things started." Yep. And because of that can go a long way.
So there you go. I mean, again, I'm not surprised by this. Now, as far as the other stuff, that I don't think is as connected. Because honestly, script, I've been hearing something now. As a writer, I'm curious if this rings true. So I don't fuck this up. I want to try and get it as close to as possible.
Okay.
Because I brought this up last night. But I had heard from somebody that KK probably has never read the script. In fact, probably never will. This individual got a text from a friend of theirs who was a writer. It wasn't you, was it? No, I'm just kidding. Patty Jenkins and Matthew Robinson. Now, Matthew Robinson is also the guy who worked on Wonder Woman 84, right?
No, that's Dave Callahan. Matthew
Dave
Robinson
Callahan? Okay.
worked on. Oh, I said this in the chat. He worked on Love and Monsters, which is he did the assignment rewrite ending for it, which was not great in my opinion.
Okay. Well, anyway, Patty Jenkins and his script, because evidently they're the ones who wrote Rogue Squadron.
Yes.
It was so bad that it was like the Office joke or something like that, I guess. In so many words.
I can believe that after seeing Wonder Woman 84 and
between
Wonder
Woman
the other
and
stuff.
Freaking train.
Well, seriously though, what do you do all day? What the hell do you do all day? You don't have time to read these things?
And then I heard from another person that when she was presented with this, she was so appalled that they thought her writing was shit.
That they brought in Script Doctor.
Yeah, she wishes. No, that the whole thing blew up in their
Damn.
face, and that's why it's actually shelved right now.
Yeah, but you can bring in a million doctors. You can't bring a corpse
And then here's
back to
Mike
life.
giving you Lucasfilm's number in case you wanted it.
You are if you're Frankenstein.
Hey, I don't care. It's my IMDb. So let's just look at the amazing things right now, Jesse.
Oh wait, but what? I'm sorry to interrupt, guys. 1 second. Well, Lorena does have to go. I think we should give her the.
Yes,
I'm sorry, guys.
No. Thank you, Script.
Thank you, Script.
So, Lorena, you got anything coming up in the next day or so that you want to plug real quick?
Yes, I do. Tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the Dark Council will be appearing on Fatal J's channel. So
Nice.
please come
He's
see
cool.
me and the guys over there.
Sweet.
And that's what I have going on tomorrow.
Sounds cool. So thank you for stopping by, Lorena. We appreciate your insight and you hanging in there.
You are welcome. You're welcome.
You guys are doing such a
Nice
good
to
job with
chat.
that show. You're doing so good. It's very
Yeah.
entertaining. It's
Oh,
like
thank
the
you.
time. I haven't been able to catch very many of them live, as you know. But God, the replay, God, they're so entertaining. You guys move so fast, and it's a hoot.
Oh, thank you. Glad you enjoy it. Okay, good night, everyone.
Take
Please
care,
hit that
Lorena.
like button. Night.
Have a
Well,
good one.
let's look at the amazing things
Yes.
that are. Jesse has a question. What is she working on? Let's go to Ahsoka. Oh, pre-production. Children of Blood and Bone announced. Star Wars Lando announced. Untitled Star Wars Trilogy Episode 1 announced.
Yeah, but she can't take one day to just read these things.
The Acolyte. Well, no, because this is a status grid, so nothing's moving.
Here's the other part too.
pre-production.
A person in her position only reads the things that she has to read. Outside of that, she has what's called readers and assistants that give her cliff notes, things of that nature.
And that's what I bitched
Yeah, but
about.
like if you own the restaurant, you
No.
care.
No, Jesse, stop trying to inject quality standards here. Untitled Trilogy.
Jesse, let me tell you, there's
Announced.
people who'll come in and they'll go like, "Did you read the script?" No, just tell it to me. Like,
Yeah. There's other people that haven't read the script
Okay.
and they say immediately there's
I am
third act
in.
problems. And then
Star
when you
Wars
ask-
Rogue Squadron announced 2023, maybe 2025. So this is a whole lot of nothing burger. She ain't done shit. She ain't doing shit. She ain't gonna do shit.
well, and this is the
She's
thing,
gonna go
Jesse.
pick up awards.
This
Well,
is
you
why.
know, in her defense, you can't read a script in the bathtub.
Well, here's the thing: it's
gets
like
wet.
Like Script
Yeah.
said, she's got all these other people reading it for her, and that's what makes me laugh the most when it came down that the reason Obi-Wan Kenobi had to get rewritten and delayed was because the story was too much like The Mandalorian. Right? Now, she announced, what was it, a year before The Mandalorian dropped? Whenever it was, when Obi-Wan was first announced, it was at least almost 6 months to a year that the
Which
stories
technically
were all
announced
written.
before the Mandalorian, I think.
Yeah, I know. It was way before. Yeah, it was all this business. And then all of a sudden, then they had to delay it because of this shit. That tells me not only did she not read it, that none of her people made any connection with anybody else. And that tells me there's some kind of separation there. And that's what we've been saying for a while. Filoni and Favreau are off doing their own fucking thing, right? They have Ahsoka they're going to be working on. They got Mandalorian they're working on. They just finished up Boba Fett. I can't even
They
remember
also have
what
the
else.
story group to contend with, which
Yeah.
is working under the auspices of Kathleen Kennedy. So,
And that's the other thing
Ugh.
I heard was that this was their excuse. This was the excuse I heard in the other part was that Patty Jenkins people were saying that the hierarchy there, and this is something else I've heard, the hierarchy there, including the story group that Script brought up, was such a bunch of red tape to get through that they just threw their hands up in the air, which,
Of course.
you know, it's probably because they were telling her script sucked.
Yeah.
Or even if it was good, I think they were just player hating. When was the last
That could be
Star
true
Wars
as well, Paulie.
celebration?
Did they have one last year?
Nope.
Nope.
The
But it
last
would have been
one,
before the shutdown shit. Yeah.
Well, they didn't have much to celebrate.
It was
that's
summer
when
of 2019.
that's where Kathleen Kennedy went and said that the scripts were done.
Okay. Yep. It was
April
right-
2019.
There you
She
go.
said the scripts are done. They're great.
She didn't read shit.
I'm just saying. I remember that.
No, I know she didn't read shit.
Yeah.
She probably hasn't read many scripts as she used to since she was anointed president of Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that's kind of goes along with what I kept hearing. She's more of a
too
satellite
busy yelling
model.
at her assistant and drinking.
Well, here's
She'd
the
have
thing.
multiple assistants that are doing that.
Now, I would be like, just don't. I would be like, pay no attention to this business for now until you hear something official. But there's a problem. You gonna come explain this to us? Nope. Get the fuck in here. I'm fucking sorry. I'm fucking sorry. She made me fucking do it. She told me she was gonna invite Alec Baldwin over. I could not chance it. I couldn't chance it. I had to retweet it. Sorry. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Just hiding out in Tom's place, huh?
Oh.
Please forgive me, people. I did not mean to retweet it, but she told me if I didn't, she was going to invite Alec Baldwin over for dinner, and I could not chance this, kids. No. So, with that, I must say,
That would be an awkward dinner party. It's
Oh
like,
my God!
what
You know
you
what?
talking about?
Can we get Congo too?
no.
Oh,
She took it away from
If
me.
we do a change.org petition, we might.
If you get Congo 2, can you make it turn out that Bruce Campbell's actually alive and bring him back?
Did you read my script?
Yes.
God damn it, Jesse.
Script doctor gave it to me.
Did you like the part where he had the 6 machine guns tied together?
Hell yeah, that's how you turn one gun into 6 guns. We all
That's
know
right,
this.
6 guns.
All it takes is a couple of screws and a screw gun.
But she took it away from me. That was the first thing she did. She said, if you don't retweet this, I'm taking away Congo 2. I said, I can't do it. Can't do it. Congo 2's done. No. And then she's like, then you know the rest. So
You know what? You could just write Star Wars on it, right? And then just push it through the line. Don't change anything.
I'm sorry, kids. I gotta go. She's expecting me back. I gotta go. Well, I at least got him to apologize.
Yeah, that is something. But yeah, it's weird. Like the only time I think Kathleen Kennedy would probably be in a position where she would have to read the script would be during production meetings that she'd have to sit on with allocation of funds and whatnot. So they'd just go page by page. This would be usually done over a couple of weeks, so she wouldn't be reading it in one sitting.
supposedly the next Star Wars celebration is May 26th through 29th, 2022.
Yeah,
that
for
seems to be
those-
about feasible. Yeah.
For those who are completely confused on what the fuck just happened there, well, the only thing that really lends any real credence to this announcement was, yes, Mrs. Kathleen and Mr. Kathleen Kennedy himself, Frank Marshall, retweeted this news yesterday. So that does lend a lot of credence to this, but
Yeah.
it also lends a lot of credence to a lot of the other shit we've said. And it's funny, the one that he retweeted was even more hilarious because it really makes it seem like we're getting under their skin.
I know we are. We have to be.
But Paulie does have to bounce here, and we want to thank him for popping in and sharing the announcement with us and sharing a little bit of his time with us here. Anything you got going on, Paulie, besides that you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, tomorrow night we're gonna have that Carlitos Way live stream.
Nice.
I am going to be so busy tomorrow, by the way, kids. Yes, we got a Carlitos Way stream with Tom Conkle tomorrow night. What time is it?
Mexican Iron Man.
Yep.
Mexican Iron Man will be playing pachanga.
Woohoo!
Who am I playing? I don't even know.
You're playing Benny Blanco from the Bronx and Lalin.
I'm a
Two
chick,
different
what?
What
Latino
time is that
characters.
happening at?
But we're trying to get it around 5:30 Pacific.
So I don't get to play Pacino, huh?
That's me.
Oh.
That's bullshit.
So yeah, we're trying to get it. We're trying to get it for 5:30 Pacific or 6 p.m. Pacific. But I'm trying to
So
start it up
8:30 or
early.
9 p.m. Eastern.
Right now it's set at 9. Right now it's set at 9 p.m. Eastern, but I'm trying to move it up a half
Yeah, because
hour,
you
but
got a screening to get to. So
yeah, I totally forgot about that. But it's nice and busy time. Take care, kiddies.
we'll see you
Bye.
then.
Love
Nicky
ya.
D sends
Later.
in a
Thanks
super
a lot,
chat and
guys.
says, "Hi Tom, have you watched Cowboy Bebop anime yet? No, I have not. I will try soon.
How have you not seen it yet? I've
I
already
just
burned
haven't
through all
had a
the.
fucking chance, man."
All right. All right.
Troy Pacelli sends in a member chat and says Mephisto would fit real well with the whole One More Day storyline from the comics. And yeah, I heard that storyline kind of being
Storyline's terrible, but no, it could work.
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't work, but it would factor in.
I wonder if that's why Andre's so worried. See, Andre's all worried, but we've all heard fairly close to the same shit. But I know he's more he knows more about the actual comic stories than I do, right? Like I'm not as familiar with them.
Oh,
so.
I know about One More Day. I think it was the biggest misstep.
Yeah, I've
in
heard of it.
Spider-Man, Yeah.
And I kind of know of it, but like as far as the Spider-Man stories, I've only read like scattered ones.
I collect Spider-Man. I used to.
I'm probably
collect
more
a lot of
familiar from the
comics.
Saturday morning cartoon. Sorry, Jesse.
But I've always collected Spider-Mans, and I don't read Spider-Man, and never did. The reason I collect them is because he's Spider-Man, and I know that they will appreciate and value no matter what they are once they're 20 years old.
Well, my first comic was a Spider-Man comic, believe it or not.
Just been always into the X-Men, man, and I love Wolverine and Punisher. Fantastic Four. I like the X-Force, and those were always great because you could get a comic book from 1991, open it up, and the pages are like brilliant white because nobody's ever touched it. It's been sitting in a bag on a board, and you get it for 25 cents. Yeah.
Mecha J sends in $5. Says all these politics in Lucasfilm is really limiting creativity on the Star Wars brand. You're not wrong, Mecha J, but you know what? I guess look, I know this is bad news for the most part, but we got some good news out of it. We know Rian Johnson's films are probably shelved. Not that we haven't been saying that for how long.
Mm-hmm. Since their announcement.
I mean, listen, it's always subject to change because, as I've said many times before, nothing ever dies in Hollywood. It just takes a while for it to come back. Someone will always bring something back. So even something like A Murder on Carnival Row, that Netflix series, that was in development for 20 years before it came to fruition. And then that can happen with anything here. And to just build off of Mecha J's super chat, he's not wrong because we unfortunately writing about politics is kind of like the laziest way to create a story because it's just an easy topic, hot button topic to do research on and do. However, story does not do well with lazy writers. And we've been seeing that over the last at least 6 years with our bigger studio films. So yeah, if your only angle is to write something, contemporary politics, you're not going to write anything of any value beyond its initial release. And the whole goal of story is we want to tell a story that will outlive us, that people will want to read or embrace long after the author has passed. And you can't do that when you're talking about contemporary politics because it's just no different than propaganda or news.
And, a lot of things going along with our reporting at Midnight's Edge. I mean, we've seen her power being kind of stripped away from her piece by piece. It has been reported widely now that Jon Favreau is in charge of things as far as the television universe goes for the most part. So,
and with David Filoni, and I think David Filoni is of he's of his own camp, but I think it crosses over more with Kathleen Kennedy and the story group than it does with Jon Favreau.
That's what I'm afraid of. And here's the thing, though, I'm saying, so for those, if you've been happy with The Mandalorian and things like that, going forward, you should probably be mostly happy with things you're going to get. If you're like me and you've already kind of checked out, then, well, there's nothing else I can tell you, Mecha J. But as far as that goes, it's probably not going to get worse than it already has because I feel like Chapek has made the moves now to where as long as it's in Favreau's hands to make this flourish. All these projects that are out there, they're all being pushed. Notice just like the last time her contract was renewed, everything was pushed out until the end of her contract. Now here we are again. Everything's re-pushed back out. Nothing that she has really had any major association with is coming other than Obi-Wan. And we only know of her association just because she was the one who was announcing it and shit. Who knows if she was, because the Obi-Wan project's been something that's been on the table for a while.
That's the only thing that would draw me back to going to the theater to see a Star Wars movie would be a Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan movie.
Well, you're gonna have to go see it on Disney Plus because that's where it's going.
Yep, and it's not gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a TV show.
Yeah, I think it's only 4 episodes, but yeah.
Dude, I just showed you. I just showed you the IMDb Pro. There is nothing coming out related to a theatrical release.
Well, notice the only things that are in pre-production that are actually kind of going or have Dave Filoni's name attached to it, which is
exactly.
The Ahsoka show.
Yes, and that goes along with the other thing we heard even before this Chapek thing, and that was that she can control certain things, but when it comes to theatrical, she has a lot more channels she has to go through.
Yeah, that's just the thing, man. It's like she drops the ball. It's just like a football game. Somebody's going to pick it up and carry and do something with it, but it's going to be some improvised play that isn't going to get as far as a plan would have. But they're not doing it because of the story, as we all know. They're doing it for personal gain because they think that they can make a step up that ladder towards that glass ceiling and maybe break through and be a billionaire. But
yeah,
it's all, even if that's all wrong and it's somebody who cares, then you got to take all this stuff and put it through the guise of this massive bureaucracy, which is not how artists work. Artists are not bureaucrats. It's a completely different mindset. It's polar opposite, actually. So to actually get something of value artistically out of the system where everything's got to go through 90 different things, and the person who's in charge of it is just getting cliff notes, none of this works. None of this works. And it just seems so blatantly obvious. It's like, this is one of the biggest companies on the planet. I am dumbfounded by all of this, really, because it's just
Jesse. There you go, applying your logic in your brains again with
but
Disney.
They have so much money,
Jesse. There you go again, applying logic and your intelligence towards.
Mikey, it's so much money,
Jesse. I know it's so much money, Jesse, but again, you're applying logic and intelligence to Disney.
They haven't had that in 25 years.
Oh, fuck it. It's not my company. I don't own it.
Well, I own stock, but that's for certain.
I ditched mine, man. Fuck it. Just abandon ship.
Bryant Barth wants to know why they didn't show Toby or Andrew. They just want to hold it back.
Yep.
I'm not so sure how much they're going to be in the movie per se. I'm wondering how much is going to cross over with Doctor Strange. There's a lot. I mean, like I said, there's a lot they didn't show in these trailers yet.
What I did see,
it's already leaking out there. So
did Toby have a mustache?
What was that, Jesse?
Did Toby have a mustache when he was turning around?
No.
I thought he did.
Toby wasn't in the trailer.
I thought there was one clip of him where he turned slightly.
No.
In the first one, in the last one.
No, that was all. No, they've kept Toby and Andrew completely out of the trailer so far.
Jesse, what is in that cup?
Coffee.
Okay.
It's got SpongeBob on it, though.
Yeah,
that's Patrick.
Yeah, I knew it was the SpongeBob crew.
Coffee black, no sugar.
And you got Mr. Crab there on the end. He's like, "My name's SpongeBob." Yeah, of course you are.
Yeah. SpongeBob, I raped your woman before your blood was even cold.
Oh, he lied. Bryant Barth, that's probably the best reason. I think they just want to hold it back. We all know they're there. It's kind of
They just want to amp it up so that the rest of the audience who doesn't follow the news, the film news that much, can be surprised. And you kind of don't want to rob the potential audience of that experience of that first time. So
absolutely.
And once again, who cares? Because we have Ghostbusters.
That's right. Floral from Under a Rock sends in $5 Canadian. Says Lethal Weapon 3 is the best. Lethal Weapon 4 is the best dialogue. Spider-Man, still not excited. I predict Toby and Garfield in new trailer in 3 weeks for hype. KK shrug. You might not be wrong, Floral, that they're holding back yet another trailer. I'm sure there's going to be at least one more.
There'll be one after Thanksgiving Day weekend, I suspect.
Well, I'd heard one was coming with Ghostbusters, which is this one. And Andre had heard there was 2 different trailers. There's one with Toby and Andrew in it, and there's one without. I had heard they were going to go with the one with. He heard the one they were going without. Evidently, they went with the one without. So that means there's another trailer yet out there. But the reason why I'm thinking they went with the one without was for the reason Sony and Disney compromised, because this whole thing smells funky to me. And I kind of heard something that was along the lines that Sony was not too happy about Disney pushing all this Spider-Man shit this week because it's taking thunder away from Ghostbusters. They wanted to do all this the week or two after Ghostbusters, and drop the new trailer with Ghostbusters, and that was going to help promote Ghostbusters, you know, people when word got around that the trailer was attached. But Disney wanted to do this big to do, which they got tonight. And with that, I think Sony compromised. They're like, all right, well, we'll do the one without Toby and Andrew. That way it doesn't get as much thunder. And so then the next one is the one that's going to get the real thunder out of it. That's my assumption on this. Is that the best way to put it, you guys think?
Possibly. I mean, it's all a negotiation at this point. You have two powerhouse franchises that are technically kind of competing against each other, and they have one studio between the two of them that's caught in the middle. So yeah, they gotta figure out a way.
Well, a lot of this is based in that when that poster got dropped last week, it wasn't supposed to drop till Monday. They ended up putting it out there Sunday night. And I think a lot of that was to distract from how bad Eternals is done.
Oh, probably.
I think it's definitely jump kick the excitement.
Exactly. And I do agree with you, Floral Under a Rock. Lethal Weapon 3, outside of the first one, is probably my favorite, but I do love 4. 2 is my least of the bunch. I don't know if anybody else agrees in that order, but
I still like the first one, really, because
the first one's still probably the best.
Fight.
Yeah, I love the first one a lot. 2 has a couple of cool aspects to it. I like the fact that I was annoyed that it tried to. I understood what they were going for, but I was annoyed that it tried to sort of make Riggs's wife be a murder as opposed to just an accident.
Yeah, that's the shit I didn't like, and then they ended up killing his other girlfriend again just to make the whole thing. Like,
They were just trying to go in a way different direction. Lethal Weapon 3 got back on course, but was definitely sloppy, I would say. But it does have a lot of good aspects to it. And then 4 was basically just kind of like a reunion sort of thing.
Plus Jet Li.
Well, 4 to me felt like they were trying to blend all the different tones from all the original movies into one. Because 3 was more of a straight up comedy, a romantic comedy. 2 is more of an action based, darker film, and the first film was kind of just like the original buddy cop kind of thing. So, like, you had these varying degrees throughout the first 3 films, and I think that's where you get with 4, and it works. I love 4. I have no problems with it.
I did like that wraparound roundhouse kick where he strangled the dude to death with his leg.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The making of that is great because I love where they're talking about Jet Li, where they're like, Richard Donner told him he had to slow down
because the camera wouldn't pick it up.
Like, you don't understand. I can't slow down. That's how you do shit like this.
He's like, yeah, but we can't see it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the filming technique was different from the other movies that Jet Li does before, which is basically more wide angle stuff. And Donner's like, no, we're on the big screen. We want to see the intimacy of it. So we got to get a medium to close. And Jet Li does his stuff, and Donner's like, we can't see it. We can't see because you're
fast.
You're going too fast, and when you see that in a wide shot, the whole body moves, so you can actually kind of compute it in your head. But when it's a medium close, like from the chest up, you don't even see the arm coming, so you just see this blur. And it doesn't have the same impact.
And Jet probably shoots a lot of things at higher speed cameras.
Yeah, just add frames per second so you could pull them out how you want.
But the other part too, which I think is kind of really important, is that Richard Donner did something very rare, which is he brought every single. If you were in the first Lethal Weapon movie and you were still alive, you were in the sequel somehow.
Yeah, it was like a family to him.
It was like a family. Like they have the same bomb guy from Lethal Weapon 2. He's in the following 3 films. Like in the most.
As far as I know, he made sure that everybody, cast and crew, followed through as much as possible, behind the scenes and in front of.
And it's going to be kind of sad with Lethal Weapon 5 because I think 3 of the actors have either passed away or are completely retired from the industry. So.
Well, if they do it right,
feel that absence. Yeah,
they do it right with Mel behind the camera. And they still using whatever script it was that Richard approved. I feel like they can do a really good passing of the torch kind of story because both the kids now
would be in their mid to late 20s. Yeah,
exactly. They'd be old enough to where if you had one of them being a cop and one of them be something else, so both of them being cops.
One a cop, one a lawyer.
Whichever to set up the future of the franchise, right? And you can do that, or it can just be a nice little button. either way, just to kind of see. And that's the best part is you've got Chris Rock's kid going up with
Butters and Riggs, yeah.
yeah, Butters and Riggs kids, and if they both turn out they want to be cops or something like that, I could see that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cliche, but you know what? You could work with it. It could be fun.
Hey, cops have a lot of kids.
Exactly. It's a
cops
very familial
become cops.
job.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Xenobit says a bunch of negative reviews for Ghostbusters dropped today. Enjoy the pregame show. They'll really be pissed when this thing hits halftime. Yeah, Xenobit, especially if you saw Andre's video, he's pointing out why they don't like this movie.
It's the same people that really liked that 2016 one.
Yeah, it's a great sign because whenever they pan the movies, they're usually
it's a
pretty
sign,
badass.
all right, of going out of business.
Oh, why wasn't that clip used in the 2016 coverage?
Oh shit! I can't wait till this movie's gonna rock.
I hope so. I'm gonna find a way to see it, but yeah.
Mecha J agrees with you, Script Doctor. The highlights for him were the electro design, which I thought was much better than the one we got before.
It does look much better.
It looks like it came out of the comics. Yeah, much better design.
Yeah, because when you see it in this trailer, it's like, oh, that works.
Yeah.
Before it's just like, no, what are you doing?
And then on the Lethal Weapon tip, E. Clay is glad to hear that Gibson is directing. But more importantly, who is writing Shane Black? I don't know who wrote it. It's as far as I know, they're probably just going to continue with what they were doing. They were in pre-production when Richard Donner died.
Yes.
This is something that's been moving along for a while, and that's why I think he's still in negotiations. I don't think it's been officially announced that he's taking over, but it's usually when they're in talks, script that generally, and they announce it through all the major trades. That's generally a good sign.
I'm pretty sure whatever deal has been made, and they're just not going to announce it yet because they want to dominate the news cycle for it at that time.
Right.
Every casting announcement or every production announcement you get in the trades happened months prior.
Exactly. And I heard the same thing a few people else did, that it was Richard's wish that Mel took over. And again, that makes sense if Richard knew things were kind of,
That's basically the only thing that
90s.
makes any kind of sense. I mean, it has to be. That's the only way to go.
But we also have some vindication here, not to switch gears too much, but we have learned, as we have reported, that Netflix no longer has a deal with Star Trek.
What?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Star Trek Discovery exits Netflix tonight. Set for 2022 launch. Some people have noticed, this is happening.
So it's going to be Paramount Plus exclusively in 2022. I believe Netflix only is distributing the last season in Canada and the US, right? If I'm reading this correctly.
We'll read this, but I'm not even sure if they're getting this newest season or not. Let me read this here.
Hey, Tom, real quick, because Star Trek is so important. How much for those Don't Tread on Me silver rounds?
$29.52.
That's not bad, is it?
I'm surprised those are showing up. I don't know why they would.
Stand by, everybody. We got some exciting news for Tom to read here.
More than 4 years after Sonequa Martin Green led series launched on what was the then CBS All Access in North America and Netflix and the rest of the world, Discovery will be leaving. What was that?
It's 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 5 years ago. Discovery will be leaving Ted Sarandos' co-run streamer as of midnight tonight. In a just closed deal between CBS and Netflix, the Sherry Redstone-controlled company has ended a lucrative financial arrangement that launched Discovery back in 2017. And if those who remember, that's what we reported. And I knew this last night, and I didn't know this was like, I should have ran with this in some way. In broad strokes, the bargain that then CBS head honcho Les Moonves made with Netflix saw the latter, I get this, kids, as we reported, paying the vast majority of Discovery's hefty budget for overseas rights. Ding, ding, ding. With their top-tier IP fully back in the fold, the plan is for Discovery to take flight on Paramount Plus around the globe starting next year. The likes of the UK, Germany, Ireland, Australia, and Switzerland will be among the first markets to stream Discovery on Paramount Plus. Of the more than 20 countries, the platform is already available in outside of North America. Viacom CBS has said that part of the accelerated expansion They anticipate being around 45 markets within the next year or so. It's another thing I was hearing. Paramount is spending money like crazy, and I don't know where they're getting it from. And of course, a high-profile brand like Star Trek will lead that charge. In Canada, Discovery will stay on Bell Media's CTB. Sorry, I keep wanting to say SCTV.
Well, same country.
Yeah, I know, right? CTV Sci-Fi Channel and streams on Crave under the long-standing deal with Northern Broadcaster. Yeah, because this is the thing is, I know how they're going to do some of this expansion. They're buying the Starz streaming network.
Yes, and they're taking that
that's
infrastructure.
the rumor.
Yeah.
Yep. No details were given of the deal that Viacom, CBS, and Netflix struck for the first 3 seasons of Discovery, but we hear it was in healthy 6 figures. I heard 8 figures. The arrangement removes any stake that Netflix had in the series. There is a timely quality to the new deal as season 4 of Star Trek Discovery is set to kick off on Paramount Plus stateside on November 18th. In 2 days, and nobody cares.
Less than 48 hours, folks, before the tragedy starts again.
As we rapidly expand our global streaming footprint, we are bringing more of our top titles home to Viacom CBS for Paramount Plus markets around the world.
Can I interject a footnote
please.
there? The footnote there would be like, because nobody wants our horse shit. Continue on, good sir.
Exactly. Let's see here. Where was I?
Viacom CBS networks.
International streaming boss Kelly Day told Deadline today, we have a strong global and local content pipeline. She said pipeline that positions us for success across our regions and
repatriating.
Thank you. Beloved series like Star Trek Discovery for Paramount Plus is another.
Sorry, beloved.
Says nobody but her.
Hold it down, script. You can do it.
Now, Kelly Day, is she? Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, she's ahead of the streaming because now who's going to be taking over for Emma Watts?
I haven't heard of an announcement yet. As far as I know, she doesn't have an exit. She's still there. I don't think her exit is until sometime late next year.
Pissed. But anyway,
but here's the other part too. So this is like a truth and lie in the same sentence. Paramount Plus is actually building a really good infrastructure for distribution, but they don't have the content right now that makes it worth investing for customers.
Did you hear DirecTV has a streaming service?
They do.
Yes.
It sucks.
It does.
Sorry, Tom.
So now this would be DirecTV that's no longer
no longer AT&T's.
AT&T, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Because they had to sell it off because of the Warner deal.
They sold off to the Warner deal. They're merging with Discovery, and we don't know what's going to... well, that's another subject. Let's finish off this article. Absolutely.
All right. A lot of the media companies, CBS, like a lot of the media companies, CBS and Viacom separately and since their reunion in late 2019 have looked for opportunities to reduce costs as they ramp up streaming originals. Star Trek series had output deals with various parties, including Bell in Canada and Amazon and Netflix in much of the world. Last March, though, CBS All Access was rebranded as Paramount Plus, and its offerings expanded and went global starting over the summer. Earlier this month, Viacom CBS reporting having nearly 47 million streaming subscribers across all of its services. It hasn't yet broken out specific numbers for Paramount Plus. That's right. They won't separate the numbers from Showtime, and they never will because they are combining Paramount Plus with Showtime now.
Yes, and they need that for their investors.
In a move seen as the sign of a difficulty of expanding streaming across the entire world, Viacom CBS formed a joint venture with Comcast for the Sky Show, as I just fucking said. Anyway, while Star Trek Picard will still be on Amazon outside of North America and Star Lower Decks will be on Jeff Bezos' own streamer outside of US, Canada, and Latin America, the Starfleet shift off Netflix was hinted at earlier this year. Back at the end of September, Star Trek the original series, Star Trek Voyager, and Star Trek Enterprise all left the streamer. Now we know where the true final frontier is. So it sounds like they are doing what we had told them they should do, finally, and that is move all the Star Trek shit onto Paramount Plus if they actually want to make it worth anything.
Because then they'll be able to drive over the legacy fans who can always watch that conveniently before going to their Blu-ray collection, and then the hope is that their kids will watch the original stuff there and like it and retain subscription.
Well, look, here's the thing. I'm pissed at what they've done to Star Trek. But I will end up getting Paramount Plus again eventually. Why? Because Beavis and Butthead and South Park. And that will probably be inevitable because I think we're supposed to be getting the first South Park special here in like the next like month or so.
I think right before the holidays,
That's
right?
kind of
Yeah.
a trump card when you're thinking about what you're actually going to do.
Exactly. So between Beavis and Butthead and that's where I'm thinking of getting back onto Paramount Plus. But until South Park starts, I'm not worried about it. And Beavis and Butthead, they could really, really, really ramp that up by putting the original episodes on there in their entirety and not having the stupid greatest hits collection like they do all the time. And it doesn't even appear that they had the newer episodes on there the last time I had it either.
Well, don't they also have to negotiate rights for any of the music videos that were aired?
They probably would,
Yes.
but I don't give a shit. Like,
Let them
even
do
if you
that.
don't,
Yeah.
even if you don't have you can still cut out the. I'll still deal with the videos being cut out, but I want all the episodes in their entirety. I don't want this select few that Mike Judge isn't embarrassed by. That's really what it is. It sucks.
Yeah.
Because Mike Judge is embarrassed by a bunch of these episodes. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. He's embarrassed by a bunch of these episodes, so he won't release them. And then the other problem is the few that are cut. Evidently, I don't believe this, but supposedly they don't have the original versions anymore.
No
which I don't
way.
buy.
Really? Because I have them on DVD if they need to copy that.
No,
shit.
the ones that are like people have like recorded off the air ones. Like I have a complete collection. It's called the King Turd Collection, but that's not the point. I want a pristine version of these. They were done on fucking film. I want them rescanned. They can do it. Don't tell me the
you
original.
want them on 4K.
Don't tell me the original. I don't give a fuck if they're 4K or at least 1080p. But don't tell me that the original shots don't still exist, because I know they have to. I'm sure of it. Mike Judge didn't throw them fuckers away. He just doesn't want all the shit to go out there because all those episodes are the older episodes he don't like. He don't like the first season and a half or two or so. He hates all those early episodes.
Why?
Because they look like shit.
Dude, that was like cutting edge television.
Well, now I understand where he's coming from. He refined their design a little later on, but he doesn't like the sloppy animation of the first. And then not only that, MTV slapped together a bunch of episodes out of like his two shorts and some other things too. So like he wasn't too happy with some of the things they did early on. But see, that's the stupid part is I thought they owned this shit, so I can't believe they just don't release it regardless. But they just must want to keep him happy, I guess.
It could be a stipulation in the contract, yeah.
It was those first few episodes.
My understanding, he owns nothing. As far as I know. Like he has
first
very
few
little
episodes
say.
that made everybody fall in love with these characters. I mean,
it's true. It is, Mike, and those are the ones that people have seen the most.
Exactly, bro.
Because they and MTV had repeated at nausea like those first 5 or 6 episodes, whatever it was, because they didn't have nothing else to, but they were showing it constantly. But yeah, I'm not surprised by the Star Trek news. We were told this shit a while back. I hope it works out for them. I know they're ramping it up with the
see, right here's an example of Hollywood announcing that it has negotiated this opportunity to come back, and the truth of the real reporting would be, yeah, they didn't want our shit anymore, so we had to negotiate to get them off the hook after they lost money working with us.
It wasn't even that. Like, if you read between the lines of this article, it's basically the Netflix deal expired, and they're just like, no, we're done. Sorry,
that's what we heard too. That's exactly what we heard. Script is that the Netflix deal expired and they did not want to continue. So
because it would cost them a fortune.
Exactly, they got fucked on this deal big time. See, I can see Amazon being a little bit more happier with Picard because, regardless of how we reacted to it, I think it did pretty well. It was averaging, I think, like 4 million people an episode. For the
Something
first
like
few
that.
episodes.
And on top of it, Amazon has that link with their, when you go to watch it, where you could click over to the shop and buy Star Trek merchandise, like right on the same page. So, I mean, they're able to like stack it. And then
we'll see how season 2 goes. That's going to be the real test. But anyway, I think we covered everything except for the one other story, which was the Tarantino story that I thought was. I just heard about this. Jesse brought it to my attention, and somebody else did earlier, but I haven't read it yet. Does somebody have this handy?
I can pull it up on the phone if you give me a moment. Yeah. But yeah, basically it's regarding NFTs, Quentin Tarantino.
I got it.
And one of the studio, damn near quick.
Yeah, I was really surprised to hear this shit because I would have swore that Tarantino has the rights to do certain things, but here's what's going on. Miramax is suing Quentin Tarantino over Pulp Fiction NFTs. Now, somebody explain to me what an NFT is.
An NFT is a little picture or a moving image, but it's kind of like a crypto thing where it's made unique to you.
This
It's
is what I'm talking about. Yeah, the crypto thing.
Yeah, it's like it's got some kind of code in it where it's like basically identity stamped so you could prove it belongs to you. But now let's say that I took my profile picture, right, and I made NFTs out of these characters. I would still own that image because I own the trademark, right? But then you would own that piece of art. You understand? So like if you wanted to have like that like a trading card set, let's say. You'll have like 3 different versions of Tom. You'll have one that's common, one that's rare, and one that's uncommon. But these things are going to be traded much in the same way that cryptos are. But the thing that I don't understand about the whole thing is that let's say X, Y, and Z make up their own NFTs, right? Who cares? What makes the demand? I was asking
because they're all blockchain. That's what protects the ownership.
You know what this reminds me of?
One guy today was like, well, what you do is you make your own NFT and then you buy it from yourself for $10,000 and then you just keep buying it from yourself until it generates value or someone else wants to buy it. Like, that sounds shady and illegal. He's like, yeah, there's no rules on it yet.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of money laundering through paintings, like in an art museum or a gallery. You buy a print painting that is one of a kind, that has an arbitrary value associated with it, and then the artist gets that value, and then the money then is used to buy other pieces of art, and it just kind of goes through person to person to person until it becomes eventually clean.
Yep.
And getting back to the initial person who just decides, oh, I can't actually move like a briefcase full of money, but I can ship this painting from one country to another and then sell it to that other country and get a whole bunch of money, and it's done through a bank or through another collector, and lo and behold, there you go. You got some hard currency without actually having to worry about various tax organizations.
Well, maybe they'll explain a little bit more in this article. We'll get into this here, but everybody's asking, there's still a Miramax? Yes. Miramax was sold from Disney to, I believe, Lionsgate back in 2015-ish, maybe a little earlier. Then it got sold to Paramount, I think, late last year or early this year. So now Paramount owns Miramax. So this is technically Paramount suing.
Or maybe it's Miramax as a subsidiary suing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The director announced the project will include scenes from a script where he cut from the 1995 Oscar Best Picture nominee earlier this month. Film studio Miramax is suing director Quentin Tarantino over plans to release non-fungible tokens based on his 1994 film Pulp Fiction. Tarantino announced plans earlier this month to release the 7 NFTs based on the film, including scenes from an early script that were cut from the final version. The NFTs will also contain Pulp Fiction art and commentary from Tarantino himself. Miramax says that it sent a cease and desist letter to the director after the announcement, to no avail. The studio claims that it is in discussions about forging NFT partnership based on its library of films, and that Tarantino's agreement devalues those efforts. Tarantino's conduct has forced Miramax to bring this lawsuit against a valued collaborator in order to enforce, preserve, and protect its contractual and intellectual properties relating to one of Miramax's most iconic and valuable film properties. Yet you still haven't released it on 4K. The company wrote in its lawsuit, left unchecked, Tarantino's conduct could mislead others into believing Miramax is involved in his venture. And it could also mislead others into believing they have the rights to pursue similar deals or offerings, when in fact Miramax holds the rights needed to develop, market, and sell NFTs related to its deep film library. The Tarantino Nft Collection is being launched in partnership with SCRT Labs and Secret Network, which are trying to create a new type of NFT with secret content embedded within it. The Pulp Fiction NFTs would have a publicly viewable portion as well as a content, including the previously unseen script sections, only visible to the owner. According to a copy of Tarantino's contract with Miramax for Pulp Fiction, the director retains some rights to the film, including soundtrack, album, music publishing, live performance, print publication, including without limitation, screenplay, publication, making of books, comic books, and novelization in audio and electronic formats, as well as applicable. Interactive media,
Seeing as he
theatrical-
had that before they invented NFTs, wouldn't
that's
that
going to be their
grandfather him
argument.
in?
That's going to be their argument. Interactive media, theatrical and television sequel and remake rights, and television series and spin-off rights. So really, honestly, this is what I was thinking. I knew Tarantino probably had a lot of this pretty locked up. They're going to argue that, what you just said, Jesse, but I don't think they're going to get much of the argument because he's got almost all the fucking rights for this wrapped up, right? Script.
Yeah,
Looks
if, he
like
has
I think
all-
so.
if he has previous rights agreement, I mean, he shouldn't have too much trouble.
it sounds like he's got all the ancillary rights. I'm talking about remake, sequel, series.
It specifically said electronic, right?
Yeah, and including portions of the script, which might be how he's getting around this shit by using portions of the script. But
Yeah, he's using stuff that's not in the actual film that's been distributed as its own
He
individual
might want to
IP.
save himself some money and go for the medium price lawyer on this one. I think it's pretty simple.
no, I think he's going to win this case. To be honest with you, even though I think Miramax is going to have a strong argument, like you just said, that NFT did not exist when his original contract was made.
Well,
That's kind of inconsequential because most of those contracts, they usually outline things that don't yet exist at that point that be stipulated. So
I mean, he could argue a lot with these rights he has here. This is like he's got it pretty locked the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they made this agreement in 1985. They know what modern technology is, and it says electronics. So that's
well, it's not even just electronics. It usually goes over electronics or any other media form that currently exists or is yet to be invented. Is usually a line that's in there. So if he has that in the contract and it's on the side of Tarantino and not on the side of Miramax, then Tarantino is free to do whatever he wishes. If it's on the side of Miramax, but the other part too is that he's introducing content that has never been seen before with regards to the release of the original film, so he might be able to find a legal way to own that independently, or at least as an ancillary piece or an accessory piece to that, which means that Tarantino could retain up to 60% of the value of the NFT, but Miramax would get the remaining 40%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up in the air. It depends on the actual details of the contract and also what the legal definitions of the NFTs are.
Now, let me ask you a different question, because this seems like they take a good thing and they look at it from the negative instead of the positive. Now, let's say Quentin Tarantino, being a popular, famous director that people enjoy his films, even Kill Bill for some reason, you would think that they would use that as a launching pad to promote their thing, and they would get behind him a little bit and maybe make a little backdoor scratch your back, I'll scratch your back thing with advertising.
I think it comes down to the point of what gets them the most money. So if they're looking at the positive and they say, oh, we're only going to get X amount of dollars, but if we go look at the negative and we own it ourselves, we get all of the dollars, they're going to go for that.
Yeah, but will they get more of a customer base if they get a launching pad off of him? You don't think so?
That's hard to predict. Yeah.
And the other problem you have here is Miramax, like I just said, was recently bought by Paramount, so they're not gonna fuck around. Anything that looks like it could take away any kind of money from them, they're gonna jump on. And this could also be, even though I joked earlier about it not being on 4K, that might also be why it's not, is because he has to sign off on it if he owns all those rights. Which it technically is saying that right there, which explains why Inglourious Bastards was such a shitty release, because that's the last one he signed off on.
Because that also might be the fact that he may have got these produced on credit independently and then sold distribution rights to Miramax, which means that Miramax might not actually own the content in the way that we understand.
That's kind of the way I'm reading it here. Is like it's almost like Tarantino owns it. All Miramax really has is distribution rights. And even then, it's like if he says, kind of thing.
Well, that's
Quentin
Tarantino.
He's no fool.
Yeah, well. I mean, he's to a degree he is and isn't, but at the same time, he does know how to get good lawyers to negotiate. But if it's on distribution, and NFT is something that you would distribute, and that would probably be under Miramax's purview, which is I think why they have grounds for this
maybe suit. And basically the rest of the article just argues the same things we were just bringing up, so there's no sense in reading the rest of it, but I do find it interesting.
Now what if he turns around and just says, well, how about you guys make an offer and try to buy it from me?
That would be funny.
There's nothing stopping that, right?
Yeah, but that's not
Once
realistic.
they do that, I think they basically justify what he's doing, so they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Xenobit says, have you seen the Bobby Kotick news today? No, I haven't. Let's see what's going on.
He's,
CEO known for, that's stuff we wouldn't
Activision
get
video
into.
game stuff, right?
Yeah, that's stuff we don't really get into. Sorry about that, Xenobit.
We don't have the gaming channel yet.
No, not only that, when it comes to that kind of stuff, unless it affects something specifically, we generally don't tread those waters. Like even when it came to the Les Moonves stuff, we only brought it up when it had to be brought up. And we didn't even get into specifics.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of stuff we get into. That's I hate to call it tabloidy, but it kind of is. What No Graphics says complete box sets worth it anymore? Looking at Dexter. Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm pissed when I buy a first season and then they decide, oh, we're not going to do any more seasons. We're just going to bring out a whole box set.
No, I don't screw around with
I hate
seasons,
that,
man. You buy the complete series. Type it in order search.
Do now.
Complete series.
But see, I've been buying shit since the beginning of the shit, and they used to do that.
The show's got to be damn good for me to be picking it up season.
Well, prime example, like a couple of years back, CBS Paramount released the first season of the Andy Griffith Show on Blu-ray, so I bought it. So I've been waiting for the other seasons. They haven't brought them out yet.
It's bizarre that the Andy Griffith Show, of all things, they wouldn't just drop it immediately as a box set in the first place.
You would think, but then all of a sudden it's been on the streaming and Paramount Plus and shit like that in HD for the past few years, the entire series. So I'm like, okay, at some point they're going to release it, I would hope. Or maybe
remember
the first
when
season
OP was having another kid take his piano lessons for him? That little shit.
And I mean, I'm just sitting here like, well, maybe they won't release them anymore because sometimes maybe the first season didn't sell well enough and they're just saving it for streaming now. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, they announced they're dropping the entire series on fucking Blu-ray. Dirty bastards. So now I got to buy the first season, but at least there's tons of seasons. It's not like I feel too cheated. Like Andy Griffith had like 9 fucking seasons.
Yeah, but it's funny because it's like you know why they do that, so they could whack you an extra time for that first one.
Well, what pisses me off more is I paid a lot for that first season, and I'm
you know what really grinds my gears.
What grinds your gears, Jesse?
If you're gonna release DVD sets and you're gonna do them, season by season, make it season by season. Series 1, volume 1, volume
they got
2.
into that shit later on.
Dude, you don't even know what's what anymore. Then you pick up the rest of it, and now it says season 3.
Somebody who has some knowledge about
am I missing episodes here? Probably.
Actually just joined us in the back room. Mr. Robert Meyer-Burnett. How you doing, sir?
Hello. I didn't even know if you guys were still going to be on.
We're getting close to wrapping up, but no, we're still going a little bit.
We need to talk DVDs with you, sir.
Oh,
yes.
We were just griping about how they like to release first season and then all of a sudden, we're going to do the entire series like they did with Andy Griffith and a few other things.
And the volume mess versus seasons.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And how about the fact that they don't release a lot of TV on Blu-ray anymore?
That's true, too. It's got to be really popular.
Very rare. Well, that was where I brought up Andy Griffith because a couple of years back I bought the first season and it was like, I don't know, $40 for just one season. But I mean, it's those old seasons were like, I think 30 some episodes. So it's like,
plus the episodes were longer. There was less commercial.
Like a few minutes more. But either way, like point was, so I was like, all right, cool. Maybe they'll release the rest of them. Well, they hadn't over the last few years. And I noticed they were all in HD on Paramount Plus when I had it. Well, then here, just like not even a month ago, they announced they're doing the incomplete series, not by volumes anymore or whatever, just the complete series. So I'm like, well, fuck. And it's like 70 some bucks. So I'm like, well, Christ, I paid almost half that or over half that just for the one.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to get the whole.
Me too.
Get the whole thing. I mean, it's what's really frustrating to me. The biggest frustrating thing is when, like, series from the 80s, the most egregious one that I love is Wise Guy, the series Wise Guy with Ken Wall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There was a second season arc about a record company, and Vinny Terranova goes undercover, and a lot of the music they used in that arc, they never cleared. So those episodes have never come out on home video at all.
Wow.
Then they're lost to time. I mean, that was going to be the case for Miami Vice, but they went back and they cleared all the music.
Luckily, yeah.
So,
well, it does help now that most of the music is owned by 3 different conglomerates. So, like,
right?
Easier negotiations,
easier negotiation deals. So that helps.
Yeah, dealing with Warner Brothers is such a fantastic experience.
But hopefully that answers your question. What No Graphics is? It's just money.
And I know with the box sets, make the box nice for Christ's sake.
God, that bothers me more than anything. But Xenobit wants says if you want to sell my super chats as an NFT dig in. Now, did you hear about this, Robert? Do you know what any of this NFT business is or anything about?
Oh
this?
yeah, and what Tarantino and Pulp
yeah,
Fiction?
we were just talking about that just before you come in here. That was the last story.
I mean, unfortunately, you know, Tarantino doesn't own that movie.
It actually sounds like he kind of almost does own the movie. Did you read the thing?
I mean, he might own a part of it, you know, unless the negative has reverted back to him.
That's the only thing is like I'm not so sure. Like he's got like all kinds of other rights to that movie though. Like everything else is locked up. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, a movie. Look, if a movie's, I know it's Miramax and maybe he can get away with it, but now aren't they saying they're going to sue him or something?
That was the announcement.
They did file,
yeah.
And again, he's got pretty much every ancillary right you can think of. The only thing it sounds like they have is distribution.
Right. Yeah, but still, I mean, look,
he might.
He had to know this was going to happen. You know, you can't just.
Well, he got a cease and desist.
Yeah, you can't just sell something off from a movie, even though no one's seen it. It's like, look, my own movie that I wrote and directed, Free Enterprise, I don't own it. You know,
you don't own the actual film, but
that's got to be such a hard day to actually.
Now, here's the thing. Now, how different would that be, though, Robert? If you had like your own script of it and you signed it, you could sell that on eBay and they can't stop you or put it up to auction.
Well, the script isn't the movie,
and that's what we have here. And outside of whatever images are supposedly on the thing, that's my question.
But it's still footage that was shot under the the footage was all created under the auspices of whatever contract it's a work for hire, however it worked.
Yeah,
you know, and
anything that he shoots with those cameras is technically the property of Miramax in this case, or
and him giving away deleted scenes.
And the director of photography.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and did Sally Menke cut that footage together? You know, there's a lot of. I understand how he could think that was cool and all that. I get that, but unfortunately, legally, it's a really sticky issue.
Yeah, maybe he won't walk out of it, but it looked like he had the rights to it pretty locked up to where I was like, I don't know if they're going to really have much to stand on.
I think Robert Wright Rodriguez might have a bit better standing with some of his films because he technically does shoot, edit, and direct everything, so he'd have more ownership over.
I mean, there is that aspect I didn't think of either. So, but yeah, Xenobit says if they released every season for $40 per season, you would have paid $300 for all. I know he's Xenobit, and that part doesn't bother me. I probably still would have bought the complete thing, but I wouldn't have bought that first season had I known we were getting a complete box set. Because as Robert will tell you, that's kind of what happened with Star Trek, and that's why they didn't continue on with Voyager and Deep Space Nine, besides many other technical reasons, was because they didn't think they were selling well enough to constitute that, because most people were just waiting for the complete box set. They didn't want to buy it season per season like they were trying to release them.
Yeah, and another thing, no one really understood what was going on. They did not do a good job explaining the restoration process.
No, they didn't.
To this day, Star Trek The Next Generation has the most extensive HD restoration of any television series ever, because the negative didn't exist. You know, there was so they had to go back in and get all the original negative and basically take it through post-production again.
Oh, I love some of the stories you've told, especially the one with where you found the one scene, the one shot or whatever that was missing in a completely different episode, because they must have took it from the negative to a completely different episode. It was like,
yeah, that was the people at CBS Digital. They were relentless about looking for the footage. I mean, it was pretty interesting. You know, the thing that in the case of Star Trek, the thing that I was most proud of was asking about the footage from The Most Toys, the third season episode, The Most Toys, because David Rappaport, who is a little person, he was the leader of the Time Bandits in the movie Time Bandits.
Right.
He was originally cast as Kivas Fajo, and he shot for one day, and then he unfortunately tried to take his own life, and he actually succeeded months later. But that was the last thing he ever shot. And I had just asked, since they were delving into the original negative, I said, have you ever come across the people at CBS Digital? I was like, have you ever come across this negative for an episode called The Most Toys? Because no one had ever seen any of this. And it was a different makeup, a different alien look. And then one day they sent me a drive and they said, yeah, you know that footage you were looking for? We found it. We transferred it for you. We don't know if you use it for special features or whatever. And I couldn't believe it. Like
they gave me the band episode. Those fools.
I get this footage, and it was only a day's worth of footage,
No, you
but
never told me this story.
oh yeah, and I got the footage, and I was like, oh my god, and it was scenes with Data and Rappaport together. And I cut it together, and I even did. There was comps of him talking to Picard on the, so it was view screen material from his side that was on the view screen that was on the bridge of the Enterprise, and I cut it all together and comped it together and made it look finished. And it was Star Trek footage that no one had ever touched. It had never been looked at before. No one ever looked at it. No one went back. It was still sealed up like it was in 1990. And when I sent it in, because we had a legal department that was specifically looking at everything that we were making, because for 3 years we were the only people making original Star Trek content at Paramount, and they're like, or at CBS, and they're like, they freaked out. They're like, what is this? And I had to explain what it was. They couldn't even find the SAG reports to show that the footage had been shot.
Wow.
And they weren't going to let us use it. And I said, you know what, man, it's the last footage that Mr. Rappaport ever shot. What if we contacted his next of kin? And we did, and they okayed it. They said it was the last thing he ever did. So what I cut together, they made me make my effects comps look less finished,
right?
So and I used a lot of the original sound effects and things, and so but they did. It's on the season 3 disc.
Oh, I haven't got that far. That's why.
See, that
Yeah,
must
it's
have
all
been,
when you
like,
watch the
so
most
fun to
toys.
do,
It's
but so much responsibility.
What's that?
That must have felt so fun to do, like a kid at Christmas kind of, but like on the same side, there's so much responsibility when you sit down, you're like, I have to edit a brand new Next Generation episode.
It was just the one day of scenes, but it was insane. I mean, for my little bit of it's funny because when people rip me online for like working on Axanar or something, I mean, it's no big deal really. But the only reason that footage exists is because I happen to be working on the project. I'm not saying that Roger wouldn't have asked for it, but I was the one that asked for it, and they sent it to me. And if they had somebody that's working on Star Trek now on special features, not on the director's edition, but on modern Star Trek, nobody would have ever thought to ask for that footage.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Guys like you are the reason those old special editions are great. And they suck now in comparison. I mean, there's still some out there, but they're not done to the snuff that they used to be.
Well, no, because they won't pay.
Right.
There's no budgets, and 2, there's no will.
Exactly.
And it's back like when we got Star Trek, it was our calling. It's like we're gonna try, and whenever we could get people, it was really hard. Like, could we get Diana Muldaur to be in the documentary? Like, would she even want to do it? And we relentlessly pursued her. And I don't know if other people would have spent the time, but we certainly did. And we got I mean, there's a lot of people we couldn't get, but we did try. And I'm really proud of the documentaries we did on the Next Generation discs.
Xenobit says, you guys with your movies buy the VHS, then the Laserdisc, then the DVD, then the Blu-ray, then the 4K Master. You have 5 copies of every movie. Oh, that's the life of Robert Meyer Burnett and myself.
But we sell them off.
Eventually, yeah, we sell them off.
I mean, Zeno's not wrong.
No.
And Robert Meyer Burnett, I don't know if I've told you this. Have I told you this? It was your work on that got me to watch Generation. I never watched any of the Star Trek Next Generation stuff because I was a original series snob.
Me too.
And God, I love what you did with those, man. I just absolutely.
Well, I've been slowly getting through them. Like
so thank you. So I don't know if I've ever had a chance to tell you on the live stream. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it was the people at CBS Digital did such an amazing job with the restorations. I mean, that was another thing is I don't think people really understood just how much better those versions were than what they'd been watching. And we tried to educate people, but most people don't know or don't care. But if you were to AB one of the DVDs and with one of the Blu-rays, it'd be like you'd be blown away. That was one of the great things about working on that project, especially when we got to season 3 and Marvin Rush took over as the director of photography. When we got episodes in like The Enemy, which was this Romulan episode where it was like Hell in the Pacific, where Geordi's helping a Romulan survive. And in the original, because it was anything that was dark, because it was composited on video, it looked terrible. But those episodes looked amazing. When we got yesterday's Enterprise, it looks so good.
Oh yeah,
it already looked good, but my God, does it look?
Well,
amazing.
You can even kind of compare it right there on the disc because you have all the original next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And you can kind of see the difference because those are the video masters as
Yes,
opposed
they
to the
are.
ones you did. So you can just pop that and watch that and just see the world of difference right there.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, and there was just detail and stuff you couldn't ever see. I mean, it was
full disclosure, I watch every episode with the beginning being next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, like, you're absolutely right, because as a kid, The Enemy was one of the least favorite episodes I watched because you couldn't really see it on broadcast television. But when I got the Blu-ray, it was like, oh my God, I can actually see what's going on around here. Geordi's visor perceptions make more sense and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's episodes that are not good, like Sub Rosa, as everyone laughs at that episode, the Dr. Crusher having an affair with a ghost. But that
That's
episode,
got Duncan Ruger in it, and it's like you got this great actor.
but it looks so good on Blu-ray. It's palatable now. You can watch and be like, this is goofy as fuck, but you can still watch it and be like, okay, this looks really, really good.
Morgan
King,
King,
he ain't afraid no ghost.
Right. Morgan King says, has Paulie and Culture Casino sat down to do Picard yet? No, Culture is completely willing to. Paulie is avoiding it like the plague.
Oh, it's happening.
Mike is on
that's,
a quest.
ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be done between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it is going to be done in royal epic fashion.
And thank you for noticing this, Donnie Pearson, because I try to do my best to emulate all the classic voice guys. And yes, tonight on the ABC Sunday Night Movie.
That's Paul Thomas Anderson's father, Ernie Anderson.
That's right. Yeah.
R&B, when I come out to California and I make Paulie watch some of these live, do you want to be part of that party?
Hell yeah.
What's funny is I went to school with the kid whose dad does the WNBC thing. Yeah. But yeah, so Monday, I don't know if you heard about this, but Danny Trejo, I think I told you in the past.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so did Paulie.
Yeah, so hopefully you can make it. If not, we'll
are you kidding?
Yeah, so Monday, I think he's going to be there at 9 Pacific time or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, something like that.
Pacific.
Basically, our morning show, he will be there for about an hour. So that's going to be
incredible.
Amazing. So hopefully you can make that, and we can't wait for that. From here, I'm going to talk about Tombstone, Robert. Are you a fan
Another
of that?
movie that I would love to get a full-blown director's edition
Exactly. I was going to say our buddy Bill actually has that full cut of that.
Yep.
It's in rough condition, he said.
Yeah, after this, I'm going over to Nick Weiser's channel. We're actually talking
That's
about
where we're going.
Tombstone
Yep.
tonight.
That's where we're headed. Xenobit says you should look into Dragon Ball Z broadcast audio. Oh, is that different than the actual audio they have on the discs? Probably, I'd imagine. Oh, that's something we're going to talk about this on the 4K show this week. Robert, did you hear about the problem with Mad Max?
The new Mad Max, or the one that Scream Factory put out, or the one that Kino
the
Lorber
ones that
put
are
out?
coming out right now, the trilogy from Warner.
No, what happened?
If you're fine with Dolby Atmos and not worried about the classic soundtrack, you're going to be fine. But it has none of the classic soundtracks on it, and they added new sound effects to the.
Well, now here's the thing: is that the American dub of it, or do they go back to the original Australian?
I don't even
version?
know I'm on that one on that either.
The American version of Mad Max is dubbed because everybody, they're like,
that
no,
I know, but I'm talking about Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh, you mean that they screwed those up?
I guess that even though there's a 2-channel and a 5.1 mix on there, they're just fold down to the Atmos mix. They're not the original mixes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's not a cheap box set either.
No, and I've got
people
my
are pissed.
Mine was shit.
Yeah, mine was supposed to be here today. People are already finding it. But I didn't get mine yet. So again, Amazon's behind the ball.
That's upsetting that they're doing that again, because again, we spoke last week a little bit about the series, the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk series coming out, and I've been seeing some of the advanced reviews of it, and they're saying it's not much of an improvement from the previous release.
Because I was actually looking forward to getting that because it actually has the movies and
it's got 3 of the movies, I think.
2 or 3 of the movies anyway.
So I don't know. Did Bill Hunt report on this about?
Yes, Bill did. Yes.
Oh God.
So you can see it on the digital bits. But yeah, with that, I think we're going to wrap things up so I can get over to the Tombstone, deal. Script Doctor, check out his channel. Check out Jesse's channel. Jesse's going to run over there with me and talk some Tombstone. Mike, check out his channel and check out the Burn Network, of course, as well. Maybe I can even talk Robert into coming over and talking a little Tombstone. Xenobit says the VHS recordings are better than the official archives because of poor preservation. They refuse to use home copies because of official source, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so they have a situation where they're okay. So they didn't save, probably like He-Man. They probably didn't save the original stuff.
Right.
That's probably the case. And He-Man, which sucks because Filmation did a really good job of preserving everything, and Hallmark just threw it all out. And it will be on 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser's channel. We're heading over there. So we're going to talk some Tombstone on what's it called, Jesse? Toxic Tuesday?
Toxic Tuesdays,
Yes.
Talk about masculine movies. So we'll see you guys over there. Like I said, maybe I'll even try to get somebody like Robert to pop over for a few minutes. We'll see here. No promises. I don't want to pressure him.
I can't do that.
No worries then. So no worries on that, but we will be there. Jesse and I will be talking about Tombstone here in a few minutes. So see you there. I'll try to grab the link for you. Thank you again, Robert, for hopping in here for just a few minutes.
I'm glad you guys are still on. I didn't even know if you would still be on.
Yeah, we're totally still on. And then I'll also send you the link for the tomorrow and stuff too, in case you can make it. Again, no pressure if you can't. But anyway, take care, everybody, and we will see you on the flip side.